Mike's on. He's ready to go. On the Fan. New York Sports Radio. Mike's on. Mike's on. He'll get you the sports any way that he can. It's Mike Francesa on the Fan. Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM. WFAN.
From the studios of WFAN, this is Mike's on, Francesa on the Fan on this Friday, a football Friday, week number 4 in the National Football League on what has been a rainy, ugly, and we say goodbye to September and none too soon. The month that we always hear is the nicest month of the year around here. Well, it wasn't anything but. All it did was rain, and it rained again last night. It rained yesterday, it rained the day before, it rained all week. It's just miserable. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow, but who believes it? But thankfully, good riddance to September as we will welcome in October after the weekend, and we will say goodbye to the regular season in baseball. Week 4 in the National Football League. Ryder Cup already underway. A very good fall ball session and historically bad for some session. We'll get to that. Set up tomorrow. Do a little bit on that in case you got up and watched any of it last night at 2 in the morning, if you're crazy like me, or you watched it at some point today, pulled yourself away from, what's going on, the folly in the Senate, and paid attention to what was going on in Paris and what was going on the golf course. What we get ready for what will be an interesting weekend. There's some good college football games. On the app, you got the College Football Show. Will be up there in a couple of hours. I contributed to that a little bit earlier today, so we got that coming up. So a very busy time. Sean Payton will join us in about a half hour. We also should have somebody up on the Ryder Cup after that, and we'll sprinkle in a couple other things and your calls as the Jets and Giants are both in action. And we begin by putting a lid on the baseball season. Twofold. Number one, the Yankee Magic number is 1 as they go and finish up this last weekend. 1 win or 1 Oakland loss, and the Yankees will have home field Wednesday night. So expect Wednesday night. I do already. I expect us to do the show Wednesday from the stadium. I expect to be at the game Wednesday night. I expect that to be the case, and I expect to be at another wild card game. I've been to the other ones. I'll be with this one, too. And we'll get ready for wild card game and hopefully a winning wild card game. I would like to see Happ start the game. That's what I would hope for. I think he should. I think Severino offers more out of the pen. I hope that's the case. We'll see who's healthy and who's not. Hopefully Didi is. Hopefully Chapman is. We still got question marks about those guys as we go forward. So we're ready to start the second season. In the American League, you're thinking about injuries. You're saying, is Sale healthy? Is Didi healthy? Is Chapman healthy? Is Correa healthy? Is Miller healthy? Every one of these big teams, and we've known all year, other than the A's who came on strong, who was going to be in the American League playoff from the get-go. We knew it would be Houston. We knew it would be the Yankees. We knew it would be the Red Sox. We knew it would be Cleveland, and it's all those teams. The National League is in chaos as we get to the final days of this season. So we'll get somebody up and deal with that in a little while. So really, look where we are right now in the National League. So one team that's not in it, though, is the Mets. Now, I tweeted this out earlier today. Little birdie told me, look for David Wright to pinch hit tonight. That's to be expected. Also expect minimum 2, maximum 3 at-bats tomorrow. He won't stay in the whole game. He will bat at least twice. He could bat as many as 3 times. He will then decide whether he wants to make an appearance on Sunday or not. That would be up to him. How he feels, how things went, how dramatic things were. So Saturday it's possible it might not be his last appearance. It will be his last start, his only start. But he could appear in the Sunday game, and he most likely will appear. Is my understanding he will appear in this game this evening, that they will pinch hit him tonight, is my understanding. So if you're interested in such things, that's where they will be. The Mets then will have some announcements. What they will tell you is that their manager is coming back. That is now definite. Whether or not the staff will be the same will depend on the new general manager and the manager. Whether they will tweak the staff, my understanding is there's a good chance they might. But one thing, remember, those guys are under contract, so that does mitigate against that. And the GM search will be extensive. There have been reports that the Mets have already been turned down for certain people. That is utter nonsense. The Mets have not requested to talk to anybody yet. They have made no requests, so they have not been turned down by anybody. Doesn't mean they won't be turned down, but the reports that they have been turned down are erroneous. They have not been turned down because they have yet to ask to talk to anybody. They have not made any requests yet. They will tell you that they will have a wide search. None of the guys will be candidates who are the three-headed guys now. The one that is going to have the biggest say in things as far as personnel will be Omar Minaya. He will be here. He will have a say. He will not be the general manager. They were very happy with the way their manager, they felt, settled down, and how he handled certain people, certain pitchers, how the pitching coach handled certain pitchers, especially Wheeler. So they feel they made the right moves by not trading their pitchers. They think it's been borne out that they made the right moves by not trading their pitchers, and they will begin anew with a new general manager. So that's going to be the Mets. That's going to be the Mets statement once they get past the David Wright festivities. So the Yankees, 1 win or 1 Oakland loss, and they are hosting the wild card game Wednesday night, 8:30. And as I said, I can't say I'm as sure as to say I expect Hap. If you made me make a wager on it right now, I would bet Hap. I personally prefer Hap. I don't know yet that it will be Hap. So I can't tell you that. It will not be bullpen by committee. They will start a starting pitcher. And they're very committed that they will catch Sanchez in the game. Jets, Giants, both in action. The Giants, faced with this schedule, I was hoping that there'd be some good news after yesterday when they sounded a little more optimistic about Vernon and Apple. Now, today they tell you that Vernon and Apple will not be there. They just told you that recently. Vernon, a no again. Apple, a no again. So they will miss that corner very much against what they will see from Sean Payton and friends, and they will miss their pass rush very much because of what they will see from Sean Payton and friends. And Sean Payton's best friend, Drew Brees, obviously will be leading the way with Kamara and everybody else as that offense that has exploded twice and then struggled a little bit against the Browns, who have a pretty good defense. They are 2-1. They have played 3 close games. They lost their first. They've won their last 2. They won the last one in overtime against the Falcons. Now they're here this week. Giants, I'm not looking at it in a 1-game set. I'm looking at it in a 4-game block. New Orleans, Carolina, Philly, Thursday night, Atlanta Monday night. I'm looking at it as 4 games and saying to you that the 1 and 2 Giants need to be the 3 and 4 Giants. If they're the 3 and 4 Giants after 7 games against the schedule they faced, I feel they can make a run and have a legitimate fighting chance to get into the postseason. In a division that could be won at 9-7 this year. I think these teams in this division will beat each other up. I think it's that kind of year, and I think they have to find a way to win 2 of these 4 games. Case closed. It was a good win last week. They did some positive things. You know, they made the change at right tackle. Now, the right tackle was the lowest rated of the offensive linemen, but he also got caught solo a couple of times on Watt, which turned out ugly on him. They did make the change at fullback. They did make the switch at right tackle. So from that standpoint, they did something. They changed the schematics. They changed some different approaches. They moved the pocket, and they were able to get the offense going in what was a very good game for Eli, and a positive one from that standpoint. The Jets will take on a Jaguar team that inexplicably lost last week. Now, I know they were banged up at running back, but if you're Jacksonville and you're thinking about Super Bowl this year, and you should be thinking of nothing else with the defense that you have. With the defense, with the running game, with the running back, with the game, with the team you have and the team you had last year, you should be thinking of nothing else except going to the Super Bowl this year in a year where you have a chance in the AFC, and instead you cannot beat Tennessee in a game where there is absolutely no offense in the game. So it's not a good sign, but that's probably a bad thing that had happened, because it'll probably be a little bit of an ornery Jaguar team that the Jets will see this week. This is going to be a very tough defense and a tough game to win. You've got to play the run, and you got to protect your quarterback as they get ready to play what will be a very rugged Jacksonville team this coming week. So other interesting games, there are some, including Kansas City on Monday night in Denver. We will begin the baseball playoffs. That will be very interesting. So we got a lot going on there. Tomorrow, and you got a couple of primetime games that are interesting when you got Ohio State and Penn State, and you have Notre Dame and Stanford. So you got those to fool around with come tomorrow. And you have the Ryder Cup, which I will get to in depth. I watched it, and I have some issues with Furyk. I think he made some mistakes. Also, they were completely blitzed. The guy that I told you that I thought was the X factor for the European team turned out to be that, and that was Fleetwood, who was sensational. He and Molinari won twice, but Fleetwood made the big putts in the morning when they won their only point, and they needed that point, and then they got swept. The Americans did in the afternoon, and right now the Europeans lead 5-3 as they get ready for round 2, which means 4-ball tomorrow, foursome in the afternoon. Then the 12 singles match start at 6 a.m. on Sunday. So I'll hold off for a couple of minutes. When I come back from the first break, I'll get to the Ryder Cup. Or maybe I'll wait till after Sean to get to the Ryder Cup.